Okay, we are live. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jesubogo Ennis. I'm the founder of GiftedBrain Academy. GiftedBrain Academy is an organization founded to help students excel academically. So we train students on how they can harness the potential of their brain for academic success, academic excellence, and success in other areas of their lives. So we started these how-to sessions this year. We started in February, so we've had different sessions. We've had how to learn chemistry session, we've had how to learn physics, we've done how to learn maths. Then we went into some unconventional topics as well, the kind that you won't find in school, such as how to learn public speaking. And today we're talking about how to learn tech and programming. And I'm so excited for the guests that we have in our midst today taking this session. Is an expert in his field, and I'm very excited that he honored our invitation. You are very, blessed to uh, be in this meeting and listen to this conversation. So I'll be going straight to read his profile because he's already on the call, and then we get started. So after I read his profile and welcome him, he would um, get into the session. He would have take speak, talk about the topic for some time, and then just after that we'll go straight into the question and answer session. So if you have questions, you can start dropping your questions. I'll let you know in the chat so that we can collate all the questions together, and then you would start tackling them when it's time for the Q&A. So I'll go straight to reading his profile. For some of you that have been following my status, you'd have seen that I've said a lot about him already. Okay, so Mr. Ibiniyi Obikoya is a technical lead at Cora Payments, where he leads a talented team in developing innovative payment solutions that empower businesses across Africa. With a solid academic foundation in computer science from the University of Ibadan, Ibiniyi has built a remarkable career in fintech, previously working with top-tier companies like Paystack and Global Accelerex. In his role as technical lead, Ibiniyi focuses on strategic leadership, driving innovation, and ensuring the successful delivery of key products that solve critical challenges for the business. His ability to translate complex business needs into scalable, effective solutions has been pivotal in his leadership journey. He is passionate about mentoring the next generation of tech professionals and actively contributes to platforms like Grazak Academy, helping aspiring developers build successful careers. Ibiniyi also shares his insights and experiences on platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube, where his engaging content on tech careers and personal growth has gained significant attention. He has extensive experience interviewing with major tech companies, including Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, giving him valuable insights into navigating high-level technical interviews. Outside of his professional pursuits, he enjoys spending time with his family, playing music, and exploring side projects that combine his love for technology and faith. So welcome with me as I bring Mr. Ibiniyi to the stage. Thank you very much, sir. Let me see your emojis.
Hi guys. Yeah, good evening, everybody. Hope you can hear me.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, guys. All right. So don't mind that my face is not on the in front of the camera. I'm facing my monitor, so I mean my laptop is somewhere by the side. All right. So thank you so much for having me. And thank you. Yeah. Okay. I can
Hi,
hear
Venus.
some. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm actually very excited to like talk about this topic. I mean, one of the reasons why I accepted the invitation is, I mean, number one, I think Jason Bobo is very, very persistent. Like, I think she's been on my neck for some time. And then I was like, okay, let me just let's just do this. And also because the topic is one that I see that is very important, right? At the beginning of, I mean, for people that are starting out in tech, right? If you miss it at the beginning, then I mean, you probably not get far. So yeah, I'm also passionate. I'm passionate about like topics like this. All right. So the topic we have today is learning programming. I mean, or how to learn programming and tech, right? Okay. So the way we're going to do it is I'm going to try as much as possible to share just a few things, right? Because I tend to talk a lot. So if I don't caution myself, I might go for a long time. But just be sure to jot down your questions. I'm pretty sure you guys will have questions. Be sure to jot down your questions. And yeah, because in fact, I would have preferred the question and answer session like better than me just speaking. So I'll just speak for some time, and then we'll focus more on the questions and answer, because I believe like you have like your own experience. You have, I believe like providing answers to like specific questions based on like certain people's situations. I believe that would like help you guys even more than me just talking about a bunch of things. Um, all right, so the first thing I would like to talk about is, okay, exactly what is programming, right? I'll talk about what is programming, then I'll talk about the kind of mindset that you need to be able to get into tech, right? So I mean, simply put, programming is just the art of giving instructions to, I mean, computer to solve problems, right? That is the basic thing, right? If anyone has given you something contrary to this thing I just said, right, it's a lie, right? Programming is just you giving instructions to computer. The reason why programming seems quite, I mean, like a jargon or quite complex, right, is just because you don't understand the language, right? Because there's a particular language that we use to communicate with the computer, and that language is what we refer to as programming language, right? And we have a lot of them, right? And why are we interested in tech, right? As we all know, like tech is I mean, the world is powered by tech, basically, right? Even spaces that do not have tech innovations in the past, now you will start seeing like, I mean, we've started seeing tech invading spaces that were not like tech driven before, right? For instance, we have e-commerce, there's tech. There's almost no space that does not have a space for tech, right? And if you want to be relevant in a time like this, right, you probably want to like position yourself, right, in a tech related space. So yeah, so that's why I think it's important that we consider tech, right? Now, it's also important for me to mention that tech is not just about coding, right? Tech is not just about coding. There are a lot of career opportunities in tech that are beyond coding, right? I'm not going to, I mean, there is money in coding, really, right? But there is also money like in a lot of other spaces. There is design. I mean, by design, there is brand design, there's product design, there is product management, cybersecurity, data analysis, and a lot more, right? Um, the basic thing that is common to all these fields is, I mean, all these spaces or all these different career opportunities in tech is the idea of solving problems, right? Because whether you are writing code or you are a product manager or you are a UI UX designer or product designer, right? You are solving some kind of problem. So if you're not looking to solve problem, maybe tech is not for you, right? And that takes me into the mindset for learning tech, right? I mean, there are two things I would say about that. Number one, if you are considering getting into tech, one of the things you need to first settle in your mind is you must have like a growth mindset, right? Because see, anything that you're trying to learn or that is worth learning will be challenging. Right? At the beginning, it would most probably not be for you. And the same thing about right? Tech is worth learning, right? But it takes time before things start working out. And without that growth mindset, you are going to give up very easily. You are going to feel frustrated, right? Even let's say, for instance, you are interested in coding. At the early days of your coding journey, you would encounter bugs, you will make mistakes, you will get frustrated. There are times that things won't just work, honestly. Is that growth mindset that will just keep you going, because all these things I've mentioned, the bugs, the um, feeling of frustration, the mistakes you make, they are normal things that would happen on your way, right? So it's important that you have that growth mindset and you believe that you can improve with time, right? As long as you put in the effort, right, you would improve. So that's number one. Number two is overcoming the fear of complexity, right? See, I've met people that feel like tech is too difficult just because maybe you've seen someone opening their laptop and they are writing a bunch of code that you don't understand. The fact that you don't understand it doesn't mean it is complex, really. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you've not learned the basics of understanding what that person is doing, right? Take, for instance, if I mean, for some of us, I'm trying to look at the names on the group. I think most of us on this group are like Yoruba people, right? If we are speaking Yoruba to ourselves, we know what we are saying, right? But if someone from UK or US that has never heard of Yoruba before hears us speak, they would think Yoruba is difficult, right? But it is not. It is because they've not learned the basics, right? They've not learned the semantics of understanding Yoruba language. Once they learn those basics, they would understand what we're saying. So the same thing with tech, right? The same thing with design. It is not complex. It's just because you have not gone through the process of understanding the basics of it. So I'm just here to tell you that tech is not complex. So because I've seen people that have decided not to even dabble in tech at all because of that feeling that it is complex, right? The important thing is to keep going, right, and not give up when things seem hard. That is the most important thing, and that's, I mean, boils down to the growth mindset I mentioned earlier, right? Now, let me also move to another topic, right, which is how do you get into tech, right? What are the different ways you can get into tech? Now, I have a video about this, right? I'll probably drop my YouTube channel sometime, maybe before we end. I have a lot of videos about things like this. So there's a video I've made about this, different ways to get into tech. And there are three major ways, right, as far as I'm concerned, right? The first way to get into tech is through formal education. And that means you going to school to study computer science like I did, or studying computer engineering, studying mathematics. I've seen people that study mathematics that end up like as developers, right? Study mathematics, mechanical engineering, right? I think basically any science course really, right? You can still get into tech, right? So it's either you go through the school route or you go through a boot camp. A boot camp is just an establishment, right, where they teach you the very core and important skills for you to get into what you want to get into in tech. So, for instance, if you want to be a product designer, right, a product designer, if you go to a boot camp, they will teach you the basics of being a product designer. They will teach you the elements of design, everything you need to know to get started as a product designer. They will teach you, right? And after that, most boot camps actually have like ways of providing internships after your training, so that you can get some experience, right? Some professional experience after the school. So a boot camp is like a school for tech, basically, but it is summarized. So because it's not like 4 years or 5 years like our conventional schools, right? I mean, I think I've seen boot camps that are like 6 months. I've seen like a year boot camp. So they put everything you need to learn in that 1 year. So that's what a boot camp is. And then the third way to get into tech is through self-learning, right? You can learn by yourself. I like to say that this one is not for everybody, not everyone can learn by themselves, actually. And it is important that you know yourself, right? You can try it out. If you try it out and it doesn't work for you, you might have to go to a boot camp. Sure, you get. If you try it out and it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that tech is not for you. Because I've seen people lamenting that, oh, I took a course, they want to be self-taught, they want to start learning tech by themselves, right? And maybe after taking the course, or maybe while taking the course, they did not understand, right? Or things just seemed as if it was not working out. That does not mean, don't take that as a sign that tech is not for you. No, that's a big mistake, right? It means you don't understand yourself, right? Because if you understand yourself well enough, you would know that, okay, it means that you just can't learn this thing, or you can't start it by yourself. You might need help. And that is what boot camps are for. Sure, you get. And in terms of like affordability, or in terms of cost, being a self-taught is the cheapest, actually, because you're not paying for any school, you're not paying anybody, right? You're just paying to get a bunch of courses. And I've seen people that didn't even pay anything. They just took some tutorials on YouTube. Sure, you get. And bootcamp, I think bootcamp is, I don't see maybe the most expensive, because I've seen some bootcamps where they will ask you to pay about 3 million naira to learn a particular course, right? And also depending on the school. If you go to like UI, like I did, right? I don't think I spent up to 1 million naira in my 4 years of being in school. So, I mean, choose the one that works for you. All right, so if you decide to learn programming, right, I'll focus a little bit on programming, but I'll also give I'll also share the other career opportunities in tech aside coding, right? So if you decide to go for programming, right, these are the steps I would recommend, right? Now, number one, right, decide exactly what you want to do, right? Because even when it comes to programming, there are different aspects, right? For instance, I am a web developer, right? Majorly a backend engineer. So to give you context, a backend engineer is someone that takes care of, or that builds the engine of web applications, right? In fact, at times even mobile applications, right? So let me give an example of Jumia. I think everyone should know Jumia. So look at Jumia, for instance. If you go to www.jumia.com.ng, right, you see the interface, right? That interface was designed by a designer, but the code for that interface was written by a front-end developer, right? But that code that was written by the front-end developer is not the one that is doing the actual work, right? Because when you log in and you see all the products, there's a place where those products are being stored, right? There's a place where they monitor your cart. There's a place where they monitor the money you have paid and how you paid the money. There's a way they monitor how to track your delivery and things like that. That is the backend, and that's what we refer to as the engine of the system, right? Even for a mobile app too, right? It's still a backend engineer that will develop the engine of that app, and that is what I do, right? So you can decide to be a mobile engineer. I mean, you can first decide to be a web developer. Now, if you want to be a web developer, you decide whether it's front end or back end. Now, you can decide to be a mobile developer. I mean, those are guys that build mobile applications, right? You can decide to be a DevOps engineer, right? Those are guys that take care of infrastructure, deployment, and things like that, right? There are a lot of things that you can still do, even if you decide to go with programming. You can decide to be an ML engineer. Those are those guys that build machine learning models, right? So whichever one you decide to go with, right, the next step is to choose a language, right? In the world of tech today, regardless of whatever thing you decide to do, there are like multiple languages that can get it done. Remember that I mentioned that the language is just a way for us to communicate with the computer. The language is not the programming. It is not. That is one of the mistakes that people make. Yeah, right. So, I mean, someone would learn, say, JavaScript now, and you think you're a developer. No, you learning JavaScript doesn't mean you're a developer, right? If a developer solves problem. If you can't solve problem with the JavaScript that you know, you are not a developer. So, like I said, the language is just a way for you to communicate with the computer, right? When it comes to actual, like, to building actual stuff, right? We don't lead with writing code. No, that's not what we lead with. If someone comes and says that, oh, Ibiniyi, we want to build the next Uber, the first thing I will start doing is not to just get my laptop and start writing code. No, I need to solve the problem, right, first in my head, or at times I write it down, right? Is the solution I've written down that I will implement using the code or using the language that I know. So if I don't know that solution first and foremost, right, there's no way for me to tell the computer. I mean, there's nothing for me to tell the computer to do, even if I know how to tell the computer, right? If I don't know what to tell the computer, then what is the use of the language I know? Sure, you get it. So just pick a language, right? It can be any language, honestly. It can be any language, but I mean, there's some languages that are preferred depending on what you decide to go with, right? If you decide to be a web developer, I mean, most people start with JavaScript. I mean, some people start with Python also. If you decide to be a mobile developer, you can start with Java, right? But that's another discussion. I mean, on so then after that, the next thing you should do is to learn and master the basics, right? This is one of the mistakes that people also make, right? People just jump into building. No, don't build yet. Once you know that, okay, I want to be a web developer, and just for the sake of this section, I'll be using web development as an example. If you want to be a web developer, for instance, I said that you can use JavaScript, right? Now, if you decide to use JavaScript, don't just start. I mean, don't just go on YouTube and look for, how to build calculator with JavaScript. No, that's not the next thing you should do. The thing you should do is to master JavaScript in and out. How does it work? When you write a code, what happens when you run that code, right? Understand the syntax, understand the semantics of that language, right? Understand the control structures, the variables, the loops, the functions. Understand the basic building blocks of that particular language, right? So because people don't know this, so they just jump into building, and when they jump into building, they get stuck at some point, and they don't know how to solve the problem. I mean, the issues they face, because you definitely face issues, right? And I've seen people that claim to be developers for like 3 years, right? But you see some basic things that they cannot do, right? Because they did not focus on learning and mastering those basics before they jumped into building. So don't make that mistake. After choosing a language, first learn the basics, right? Now, after learning the basics, the next thing you need to do is build projects, right? Which is just basically practicing. Build projects. There is 1,000,001 project ideas that you can implement, right? There's 1,000,001 product ideas that you can implement. You can never run out of projects, right? And for someone that does not have a professional experience, right, one of the best ways you can showcase what you can do is to showcase what you have done. So if I want to hire you, for instance, right, and I know that, okay, let's say I'm looking for an intern, right, and I mean, by default, I'm not expecting an intern to have any professional experience. But what I'm looking for is that person's attempt, right? I want to see what you've done so far. That is what will give me an idea of what you are capable of doing, right? I can only see your potential through your past works. And the only way I can see your past works is if you build projects. So the third thing is practice with projects. Now, after that, the fourth thing I would say is, if possible, get a mentor, right? Get someone that is already at that level that you want to get to, right? Get someone that, I mean, like, again, if you want to be a web developer, get someone that already does web development and does it well, right? The idea of having that person is not to babysit you. No, the function of that person is to guide you, right? Because you can actually get lost in the maze of all these old programming languages, concepts, and things like that. So that person will let you know, okay, learn this, don't learn this. This is how you should learn it. That is the function of that person, is to guide you. And last but not the least, obviously, is to find a community, right? Join a community. It's important to have a community, right? It's nice when you have people that you people are going to, or you guys are trying to achieve the same goal, right? It is easier to get things done when you are not just the only one, right? Like I said, you are going to get frustrated, you are going to make mistakes, you are going to encounter bugs, right? It is easier to deal with those situations when you're not the only one. So imagine I'm building something and I encounter a bug, right? And I'm just the only one. I get frustrated and I'll be the only one going through my frustration, right? But if I have a group of people that I can just share with and let them know that, oh, I'm building this thing and I've been having issues for like 2 days, right? Everyone will jump on it, right? And even if they are unable to solve it, that feeling of, okay, I'm not the only one in this, it will give you the assurance that you are not the problem. You are not, right? It gives you the assurance that it's just part of the journey. When you see that, okay, you're not the only one facing this thing, it's all of you that are facing it. So it's nice to have a community, right? And to also add, a community will consist of people that are at your level, people that are beyond your level, people that are behind you. So you will see people that you can relate to, people that you can learn from, and also people that you can teach, right? Because when you teach people, it actually increases your own knowledge and increases your level of confidence. So you can see how important having a community is. All right, so now let's talk about other career opportunities in tech, right? I'm trying to speed up. Other career opportunities in tech. All right, so I'll just list them. I'll try to explain what they mean or what they do, right? So we have product management. Now, a product manager is basically someone that manages a product. Simple as that, right? So in a standard company, you have engineers, you have designers. Let's say you have a front-end, back-end engineer, you have a designer, let's say you have a DevOps guy. The product manager is a person that owns the vision of the product and ensures that whatever everybody is working on, right, aligns with what we are trying to achieve, right? So the product manager manages the team and ensures that we are all working towards the same goal, right? So that is the job of the product managers. The product manager basically bridges the gap between business and technology, right? If the CEO is saying that, oh, we have to do this, the product manager is the one that looks at what the CEO is asking for and decides whether it fits into what the team can do. And if it does, the product manager will convert it to a list of tasks that they can then assign to the developers to work on. Now, then the second thing we have like UI UX designers, right, or product designers. These are guys that design the products, basically, right? I gave an example of Jumia earlier, right? The interface, as you see it, was conceived and was designed by somebody, right? That person is a product designer. So if you can draw, for instance, or you like color combination, or you can detect when color is bad, for instance, you can detect, like if you see a website, something can tell you in your mind that these colors don't add up. You should probably consider being a designer, honestly, right? Then we have data analysis. These are people that just work with numbers, right? They gather large data, right? And they find insights to data, right? I worked for a company. I worked briefly for Branch. I don't know if you guys know Branch. So Branch is a company that gives loans to people, right? So one of the things that the data team does, right, is to use the past behavior, right, of a customer, right? They use that to determine whether we should lend this person a particular amount or not, right? So look at, for instance, let's say someone borrowed 10,000 naira from me the first time, right, and they returned it. I mean, they paid back. Then they borrowed 20,000, they paid back. They borrowed 50,000, they paid back. Then they borrowed 100,000. Then it took them some time before paying back, right? Just by having that knowledge, you know that, okay, maybe I should not borrow this person more than 100,000 naira next time. Sure, you get. So that is what data analysis is. They use data to make decisions. Sure, you get. And that helps a lot of big companies. Cybersecurity, those are people that protect the system and data of companies. Look at Paystack, for instance. Paystack is a fintech company and they deal with money, right? So there's a cybersecurity team because attackers and malicious users are constantly trying to breach the security of the system. Sure, you get, because thieves now. They want to steal money. And then we have technical writing. We still have a lot, but I'll just stop here. We have technical writing. These are people that love writing. They love explaining complex concepts, right? So you can be technical and you can be a writer. So if you like to write, someone like Jason Bogo now, I think she likes to write. If she works in a tech company, for instance, and she understands some technical terms, she can successfully become a technical writer. She doesn't even need to know how to write code. No, she just needs to know, like, she needs to understand what the developers do, right? Well enough for her to put it into writing. And there are people that get a lot of money from these things, right? You see all those developer advocates. Some of them cannot actually write code so much, right? They just learn a little and they start talking and they make a living from talking about it, really. So the most important thing is just finding what fits you, right, and what aligns with your skills and interests. Okay, what else? I'm trying to like see what else to talk about. Yeah, I think one other thing I would like to say is it's important that you build a portfolio for yourself, right? Whatever it is that you decide to do, whether you're a designer, developer, or data analyst or product manager, right? It's important you build a portfolio for yourself. The only way we can see what you're capable of, like I said earlier, is to see what you've done, right? A compilation of what you've done is called your portfolio. So always document your process, right, as much as possible, and have a structured learning plan. So you have a structured learning. Don't just learn randomly, right? There's a website that actually gives. There's a website called roadmap.sh. If you want to be a front-end developer, back-end developer, DevOps, I think they have other parts there, right? They will give you like a roadmap, what to learn first and what to learn after that, and they will give like how to move up the ladder. And then in terms of like resources to learn and tools for learning, you can check out Udemy, Coursera. I mean, I think we all know even YouTube has like a lot of tutorials for, I mean, depending on what you want to learn. Yeah, I think that's mostly what I would be sharing. I've mentioned earlier that you should probably get a mentor. Having a community is very, very important. Celebrate your small wins. Yes, I feel I should say this very well. I should emphasize this. Celebrate your small wins whenever you. I remember when I think I was in 100 level, right? I was writing Python because that was what they taught us in school, and then I knew Python well enough to be able to solve like some little math problems. So, and I remember there was a time, I don't know if you, for guys that are in science class or that went through science, there's this 3x3 matrix, right? Where they will ask you to, I mean, maybe you need to transpose the matrix and a bunch of operations on the matrix. And there was a day I wrote the Python code to be able to do a bunch of stuff, right? On matrices, on the 3x3 matrix. At some point, I was even able to do it on a 4x4 matrix. I remember that day I was so happy, right? The bottom line is that my friend, we were very happy because I mean, people were building it, but we were able to build it. But once we were able to build it, we were very happy. So try to encourage yourself. So you get encourage yourself. The little things you are doing. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Honestly, I feel like I should say that also because people's journey are different. Our journeys are different. We have different leverages, right? Where I'm starting from might not be where you're starting from. So if you're looking at my journey to decide if you are doing well or not, you probably be making a big mistake. So focus on your own journey, celebrate your small wins, set achievable goals, right? Always have a long-term goal, right? Even as we get into tech. If you don't have a goal, every place or every bus stop will look like where you're going. If you don't have like a clear what's it called, description, right, of where you want to get to, right, everywhere will be like your destination. So yeah, I think that is most of what I'll be sharing. Thank you so much for listening. I'll stop now to get the questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that insightful session. I think you're giving us an overview of everything that's, for someone that is starting out, looking to get into tech, the things that they need to know and the things that they need to do. Because the reason I decided to hold this session is because a lot of people get overwhelmed, including me, when they just think about getting into tech, because everybody says, oh, tech is important, you must break into tech, even as an expert in other fields. And then just thinking about it is like, oh, where do I even start from? Don't know what to choose, what to learn. But you've given us an overview. You talked about the basic like explaining what programming basically means in very simple terms, and then you move to the things that we should take note of while learning tech, such as having a growth mindset, overcoming fear of complexity, and then you also made mention of other career opportunities and even explaining them, because I remember when I learned data analysis and data science, there's something I always have to keep going back to check difference between data analysis, data science, and data engineering. I just had to keep going back because I wasn't sure which one I wanted, and they just seem, although they're intertwined somehow, but they're still very distinct career paths. And so these are some things. The same way I keep going back to check difference between product manager and I think product. Sometimes I even mix up product manager and project manager. I just keep going back to check these differences. So you explaining some of these things is very helpful. Thank you very much. So now we're going to the question and answer session. If you have questions, this is your chance. This is your time to ask your questions. You know, if you even have like personal questions in your tech journey, because I'm aware that there are some people that have already started out in tech here. This is your time to ask questions. You can raise your hands and ask those questions out. If you don't want to ask through speaking, you can also drop them in the comments and I will put them out. So I already see one and about two hands raised. So we start with Flourish. Flourish, you can speak and ask a question. Flourish, are you speaking? Okay, we'll move to Finn, follow up.
Yeah, so I have a question. It's
Okay,
kind of,
okay.
my question is kind of bad. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so my question is, before I got into nursing school, I was learning product design, but due to my school busy activities, because we always do one or two things, I completely lost interest in learning product design. But right now, I want to get back on track, but I really don't know where to start. Like, I'm just lost.
I
Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't clear.
Can you please did you get the question?
No, I didn't.
It wasn't Flourish, could you maybe type it? It's not very clear. So we can get it. Yeah. So let's move to Finn while she's typing it.
So, hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Mr. Ibiniyi, for sharing so deeply. I really learned a lot. Like, even I'm a developer, but I learned like a lot about something that I missed and why I struggled on some things. Thank you so much for sharing. I have a few questions. They may be a bit like above the starting out learning, but it's more of like now that I've learned a little and I've learned and I'm building products now.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask um in so I'm building a startup and I'm working on a project. I've built like many projects beforehand, but like I want to build a major project now. One challenge that I'm encountering is I want to know before we want to launch an MVP. I want to know like what are the I have two questions. What are the requirements for maintaining an app in production? Like initially I wanted to go for a Flutter app, but I just when I spoke to a developer, I just who had been and she was sharing how her team, a big team, they have in short, they have been building the product for almost
We can't hear you.
Yeah, it's just want of
2 years. I'm like, whoa. So I think I was really scared of, okay, am I sure I have focus on that and I maintain that
oh, network is breaking.
myself.
Your network is
Critical
breaking.
things to note
It's not
when you are building
clear.
an app for production and maintaining it. Yes, so my second question is that, can you hear me? How is it audible? How do you probably ideate to solve the problem? Like building the database and all of those things. Am I still audible?
Yeah, so you were not. So can you pick up from where you said that you spoke to a Flutter developer about how they built their app? I think that was where you dropped off the last time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get that.
Okay.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, I said I didn't get the first question. Well,
Okay, so I'm sorry. I meant like when you're building an app for production, I want to ask like the major things that to consider to building an app in production to maintain it. So when it's interacting with users, and how do you maintain the app technical support for someone who has no background like technical support, just building side projects? How do you maintain an app in production for a startup?
okay, so yeah, so okay, exactly. So you're adding some context that I actually like need. So are you building are you building a side project or are you building a startup? Because those are two different
It's a
things,
startup.
right?
A
Okay,
startup, sir.
okay, all right. So then you mentioned something about reaching out to somebody. You were talking about web
Yes,
or
I
mobile.
spoke. Is initially our plan was to build the mobile version, mobile
Okay.
app, but I don't write Flutter. I wanted to use Flutter for that, but I don't work with Flutter. So I wanted to get someone to build the mobile app for us. But when I spoke to another developer and I heard about the things that went into an app in production, I was so scared. I said I want to do mobile for now. We'll focus on web because
Mm,
I don't think how we had what it takes to maintain mobile app in production. And I don't write that code, so I can't keep up. Except
mm.
with web, I can keep
Okay.
up.
All right. So so let me quickly address that. Okay. So I'd like to say that everyone's journey is different, right? But for me, my view, because I just say this in passing and then I'll answer the question. Being a startup is not the best way to break into tech, right? So yeah, being a startup is not the best way to break into tech. So that's just by the way. Can have another discussion about that. But so in terms of building like a startup product, right? So yes, I think you made the right decision, right, by not getting someone to build the mobile app, right? And I'd like to say that, see, decisions on whether to, I mean, on the stack to use, on the platform to release on, whether is web, Android, iOS. I think it depends on the specific requirements of the product you're trying to ship out, right? If there isn't any mobile specific requirement, for instance, if there isn't anything like using like the geolocation of a user, using anything that is specific to mobile app, or maybe if there's if there isn't any requirement that requires you to, or if there isn't any feature, sorry, not requirement, that requires you to tap into the API or the subsystems of the phone, right? Be it an Android or iOS, right? You should probably build it as a web app, right? Because even for web apps, you can build it to be mobile responsive, right? And it will work both on I mean, iOS and what's it called, and Android. Sure, you get. So, and I think that you should go with the technology that you are most comfortable with. Sure, you get. If I'm going to build a startup, for instance, I'm going to build a product, right, which is something I tried doing last year. If I'm going to build a product now, I'm going to build it with something I know. I'm not going to get someone to build it because I don't know. No, I'm going to build it with something I know because I need to know everything that is happening. Sure, you get. So that's it for me, right? And also because I mean I know the ins and outs of what I know, right? So why would I get someone else that does something I don't know, right? Unless I want to go and learn that same thing. Sure, you get. So that's one other thing. Then in terms of I don't know how to put. I think I think you also asked maybe how do you build. I don't know if the question is how to build or is it how to maintain the app in production?
Is how to maintain the app in production. That's the first one. The
Yeah.
second one is like in some of the features to build, how do you
Mm.
effectively solve the problem? Because some problems are easy for side projects, and there's a lot of similar projects out there. But for a unique product, you have to ideate from scratch. So how do you go about the ideation process, like for solving the problem before you actually write the code
Okay.
effectively? Something that.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you maintain a product in production, or how do you maintain how do you maintain a product in production? Well, it's I don't know if there is a specific I don't know if there's a specific step right for that. But one of the things you need to put in mind is that this thing is already being used by people, right? So you can't just that's if it's being used by people already, and it also depends on how many people are using it, right? So let me give you an example. So when I was at Paystack, there are certain things we needed to do. So for instance, I mean there was this update we needed to make to the database, right? But because Paystack basically has like millions of users, we can't just decide to make that change, right? It's going to disrupt the users' operations because these users are businesses and they are running, some of them are running 24/7. So we can't even decide to do it in the midnight because some people are still moving money in the midnight. So you get so it really depends on at what scale, right, is that product. At what scale is it? If I have a product that is just being used by 10 people, I can probably manage those people. I can just call them and say that, oh, we want to release an update that would bring the app down for like 2 hours, and just call them and say, okay, just bear with us for 2 hours. You get that one is easy to do. Okay, you get. But if I'm adding a feature to something like Google or something like Amazon, something like Jumia, that's going to affect millions of users, right? I have to think of a better way to fix the bug or to release the feature in such a way that doesn't really affect much people, right? One other thing you have to take into consideration is if because we are talking about maintenance here, maintenance also involves like fixing bugs, right? So if there is a bug that was pushed into production, for instance, right, the scale at which or the impact, I mean, scale and impact are kind of similar, but the scale at which your app is running, like, I mean, the scale, I mean, how many people are using it, right? And depending on the effect of that app being down, right? So, or the effect of the bug that exists in production. So if this bug is, let's say, for instance, at Paystack, someone pushes a bug that whenever someone wants to withdraw, for instance, from Paystack, if you want to withdraw, say 2,000, you withdraw 20,000. That's a serious bug because, I mean, Paystack would lose money, right? So that would also address how urgent we have to take care of that bug. So it is it really depends on a couple of things, right? There's no one size fits all for maintaining an app in production. Depends on scale, depends on what kind of app it is. It depends on the impact of what you're trying to push out or impact of what is already there that you need to put down. So you get. Then the second question is the ideation process of new features, right? Honestly, I think that so that's one of the things as a developer, right? You are not just a coder, right? There's a process of building your problem solving skills as a developer. And this is something that a lot of people don't know, right? There's a process, right? You don't just wake up today. Not everyone. So there's a book called, you can look for the book. There's a book called How to Think Like a Developer, right? So even though a product manager can come and tell you that we want to build Jumia, this is how we want Jumia to work, right? You as an engineer or you as a developer, there's a way you have to think about that problem to be able to know how exactly to solve it, right? And there's a process of building that cognitive ability. So I can't tell you that, oh, this is how I do it, because you can't do it the exact way I do it, because we don't have the same brain and we don't have the same experience. So, but there's a process of building it. So you have to go through that process of building that problem solving ability for you to be able to solve certain problems, right? So, and if for instance, your problem solving ability is 3, right? See, there are problems that it will take you to have a problem solving ability of 5 to be able to solve. So you can see, both of us can be seeing the same problem, but you can't solve that problem. And I can solve it because of my level of experience and because of how I've been able to build my problem solving abilities. So the whole idea is just, that's why it's important to build projects, right? Start with a small project, then increase the complexity of the project little by little. That builds up that problem solving ability little by little, right? And then there are some things that you just cannot figure out by yourself. You need to learn from people that do it already, right? That one, you can't learn it. Like, you can't grow into it. No, someone has to hold your hand and show you how it is done. That is where having a community comes in and having a mentor comes in. So you get, so yes, you can try to think of a solution. If you can't, right, reach out to someone that you think knows how to and learn from that person. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're moving to the next question. Flourish has dropped it in the comments. She said, before I got into nursing school, I was learning product design, but due to my busy schedule, I completely lost interest in product design. I really want to get back on track or start from scratch, but don't know how to.
I mean, yeah, so I think the first question would be, are you still in nursing school? How is the schedule now, right? Has it gotten better, right? So I think that this would require more context, because I mean, depending on what your determination, I mean, what your determination level is, right? I started learning programming when I was in school. And I mean, as a student, it's not as if I had a lot of time, because I also had to go home to help my parents with their business at home. I was at home every weekend, literally, right? There were times that I like going for musical concerts. So I go for music concerts. I didn't sleep over the night. And the early morning, the following day, I'm at home because I had to work for my parents. But I still found time, right? So it's not a matter of finding a chunk of 5 hours, 2 hours, 10 hours to work. No, if it's 30 minutes, it's a matter of consistency, really, right? You just build that consistency. If you just have 30 minutes a day or 1 hour a day, take a course. Let's do it this way. Take a course, right? You can get a course online, right? Get someone to recommend a course for you, right? Someone that knows what they are doing, or not just anybody. Get someone to recommend a course for you, right? If you can just spend 1 hour on that course every day, right? Because of the nature of your job, so you can't have the same flexibility of time. You don't have the luxury of time like, I mean, other people. So if it's just 1 hour, stay true to that 1 hour, right? And make sure to have someone that already does this product design thing, someone that can teach you, someone that can guide you, right? Someone that whenever you are stuck, you can reach out to that person and the person will tell you, okay, oh, I've been through this thing before. This is how you combat it. So again, I know the schedule is busy, but even if it's just 30 minutes a day, right? Well, I mean, 1 hour is better, but yeah, 30 minutes, 1 hour, right? Minimum of 1 hour. You can find that time. Just find the time, honestly. But I mean, I think it'd be nice to just know whether the schedule has gotten like a bit more relaxed now, or it's still the same. And I would have been able to give a more specific answer if I know exactly what the schedule now looks like, right? Then maybe we can be able to like work something out for you. Yeah, but yeah, I think maybe that's generic answer should work.
Okay. She's Flourish, you're on the call. If you can maybe drop comments about that because of your network. I think Mr. Mark also raised his hands. You can ask a question. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. I'm not sure. We can't hear you if you are speaking.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I was trying to say that I registered for a course recently. I'm yet to start is digital marketing. So I wanted to use that to boost my social media certification. Then I came across a post on LinkedIn. The lady said that social media marketing is different from digital marketing. That she was like trying to explain that social media marketing focuses just on marketing on social media management. So doing a digital marketing is not the same thing as knowing about social media marketing. But I went on research and it looked as though digital marketing is a broader aspect that also encompasses social media marketing. Now, this is my question. After doing this course on digital marketing, is it necessary for me to still do another course on social media marketing? I'm here to do the course, so I can't really say if what I'm going to learn there will be different from doing a social media marketing course. That's what I want to know, sir.
Okay. So I like, let me first make something clear, right? Social media marketing, digital marketing. I'll be sincere. I don't know much about these two things. I know social media marketing is about it's about the social media, right? And is it has little to do with tech, really, in the sense of the word, right? The same thing with digital marketing. Digital marketing, I think, is just marketing products, right? Online, right? And what's called, I stand corrected, by the way. So I can't really give you I would say that I don't think they are the same, right? They might be similar, but I don't think they are the same. So I would say you should I mean, since you've gotten the other course, just take it. Really, just take it, right? Yeah, I mean, that's my advice, but honestly, don't take my word for it, because that's not my expertise, and I know just little about it, right? I would say that if you have access to someone that does digital marketing or social media marketing, any one of them, right? You can ask them about this, right? I mean, one of the best things you can do for yourself is just getting someone that does this thing, right? Let them tell you, oh, it's the same or it's different. Do this, don't do this. I mean, in their own opinion. So, what is this? So yeah, that's my. I hope that helps.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Are there other questions before
So I can
we?
see a question in the chat chat box.
Oh,
So this,
yes.
yeah, please I want to ask. Please I want to ask, for us with no experience in tech and no startup fund. I mean, does anyone have startup fund here? Come and share with us. How do we go about it? Because I'm interested in the data science and data analysis. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's more to this question than what the person is asking, because especially with that no startup fund. I don't know. I don't know if anyone asked you to go and look to go and build startup. But I mean, I think if the person is still on the call, you can maybe give more context to this if possible. But I mean, if you're interested in data science, data analysis, right? Just take the course or go to a boot camp if you have the money, right? If you don't have money for a boot camp, take the course and get someone that does it, right? I mean, this is pretty much a generic advice, and I think it works for every space. Being a developer, designer, data analyst, product manager, right? Taking a course and having someone to guide you would save you a lot of effort. So that's what I think you should do. Yeah, that's it for that.
Okay, please, if you've asked your question, you can drop your hands. I'm seeing two more hands, and I think that will be the last. Those will be the last questions we'll take. Um, Gabriel, praise. You can ask your question.
Hello, sir. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, the network is a bit
Yeah,
bad.
exactly. Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
I was the one that asked the last question now. The reason why I asked it is because most of the times when I want to enter, I want to start into this, I just graduated university. So
Mm.
once I want to start, they keep asking me to bring huge amount of funds. Like some people will tell me for their courses is 100K, some for some other courses it's like 300K. Ah,
Yeah, I think network is misbehaving. Okay, I think I'll just maybe wait for him to come back
sorry, can
before
you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay, so some courses they will be telling me to bring like ridiculous amounts of money. So that's why I actually lost interest. And
Where
now that I have
so where did you see these courses? Courses where?
some of them were recommended to me by some friends. Some of them I saw them online when I checked on LinkedIn, when I checked on Udemy courses online.
I mean, so Udemy courses, right? I don't think I mean, in my own opinion, Udemy courses are some of like the cheapest, right? I've taken a Udemy course for like 5,000 before. There's a Udemy course of 10,000. There are times that they run promos, right? And even if they don't, right? I think I saw a course recently. It was about 40,000 right? Relatively, that is still very cheap, right? Because if you go to a boot camp to go and learn that same thing they will teach you in the course, you would not be
Yes,
paying 50,000.
yes,
Yeah. So yeah, I think if it's a matter of fund, right? I think you should just try to get the money for the course, right? Because I mean, the course getting a course is the cheapest you are going to get, honestly. So it's either you get a course or you go to a boot camp, or in some other people's situation, I've seen people getting teachers, which I don't think is really, really effective, right? You can get someone to teach you, which is going to cost you more. So you get so if you can get something like 50,000, I think you will get a course on Udemy, a good one, right? Yeah.
okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much, Gabriel, praise. And yeah, you can go. Are you speaking? Praise. Okay, if praise is not on the.
Sorry, yes, I'm speaking presently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, what's your question?
Okay. No, I'm not actually asking a question, actually. I was just trying to make a contribution. And I was trying to tell you people on the group that I do data analysis and digital marketing and
Nice.
also software applications too. That's like presently that's what I'm doing. So in case you have any order or you have any work, you can actually refer it to me. Then I do it for you. Yes. And then concerning the courses, like for the person that wants to take the course, I have I don't know, I think I have the person on my DM. So now I'll message the person on my DM so that the person can we can actually talk. It does not cost any amount with
Mhm.
me, like for the training. Yes, for the data science and analysis. It does not cost any amount. It's going to be fund free actually. Just registration money, which should not be more than 1,000 naira. Yeah. So that's what I want to say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you. So
Now,
I think uh Atilola Atioluwa. Sorry, I'm not sure I'm getting the pronunciation. So
Lola,
yes, so you can chat Gabriel Praise up concerning that. And the last question we're taking is from Kaitochi. Uh, please ask a question. If you are speaking, we can't hear you. Kaitochi, are you speaking? You can you drop a chat to if you can drop your question in the comments. Okay, we can't hear you. So we're waiting for that. There's a question in the comments to you, sir, from Finn. He said, are you open to mentoring a backend developer?
I mean, drop a message for me on LinkedIn. And let's chat. Yes.
Giving a few more seconds to Kaitochi to ask his question. Don't know if that comes in as soon as possible. But in the meantime, I want to once again appreciate you, sir, for this opportunity and also taking your time to answer our questions. It's been really helpful. Okay, so Kaitochi's question is, I have interest in two aspects of tech, programming and front-end development. What aspect do you advise I focus on?
I mean, I think you need to first clarify something. Programming is not an aspect of tech. Okay, programming and design. I mean, front end and design. I'm guessing. Right. Okay. What aspects do you advise you to focus on? I mean, I don't think I can advise you, because I mean my advice would be to pick the one you want, right? Because there has to be one that you are better at, right? There has to be one that you are better at. Try learning both and see which one is easier for you. That is my advice, right? Because I mean, I think it's a common thing, right, for some front-end engineers to actually be interested in design, and for design people to be interested in front-end, but they are not doing front-end because it's not as easy as design is for them. The same thing for front-end engineers. Design is not as easy as front-end it is to them. So what I would say is look into learning front-end, right, and look into the basics of learning design. I think you'll find your answer. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir, for this session. This is where we'll be wrapping it up for tonight. Thank you for honoring our invite. Thank you for sharing all of this nuggets with us, all of this insight, and thank you for even more for answering the questions, personally, and giving like strong advice to each of them. Thank you. I'm sure. Please, have you gained something from this session? Let Mr. Ibiniyi know that this session has been helpful, and he will see you in the next few months, a few years from now, excelling in tech, because that is the goal. Yes, thank you very much, sir. Thank you to everyone. The recording of this session will be available for those that had network issues. It will be up on our YouTube page. Also, I would get the link to Mr. Ibiniyi's YouTube page as well, because he has many resources there. That was how I found out about him, from his YouTube page. He's very passionate about mentoring young people, and he discusses these things a lot on his YouTube page. So I'll get those links. If you are in our community, if you chatted me on WhatsApp, before the session, you'll get those information. If you didn't, please, reach out to me so that you can also get those information. Like, I think I don't have Kaitochi number, I'm not sure. So reach out to me so that you don't miss any of these, the links and resources that I'll be sending out. Thank you very much once again. Have a lovely night rest, everyone. See you in our next session. Bye.
I guess.